the sky tears open, monsters flood out, and the hunter vanishes into the shadows. A frantic vendor shouts, "Thank you, please come again," as a masked girl named the crowd for survivors. Gina's voice crackles through a broken speaker, warning that a rift has appeared at the main intersection and traffic is now under strict control. Suddenly, a distorted alarm blares, "Die!" and panic spikes. Lilith darts toward the barricade, desperate to protect the fleeing civilians, while the looming rift threatens to swallow them whole. The cost is already clear. Innocent lives hang on a single, trembling line.
All customers, stay calm and follow the signs. Rift at intersection. No entry without clearance.
Lilith crawls through the debris, following the faint scent of a hidden alley that might lead to the supermarket where supplies are stored. She spots a massive, grotesque slime creature perched on the doorway, its skin glistening with foul slime. She wants the food cache, but the creature blocks the entrance, its guttural croak echoing. She circles, drawing its attention, then hurls a makeshift spear, striking a weak spot. The slime erupts, spilling viscous goo onto the floor, buying her a narrow opening. She darts inside, grabs a crate of canned goods, and bolts out as the creature recoils, its eyes burning with fury. The cost. The slime's roar awakens nearby monsters, flooding the street with snarling threats. Lilith forces the rusted ancient tank into the fissure, channeling the glitching ablation energy to seal the yawning wound as the rift roars louder than a dying star. She risks her shattered arm and the fragile hope of humanity, sacrificing her stability for a chance to hold the chaos, while Cha Yuji watches his world crumble into slime-filled silence. The system flashes a sacrificial demand and the monitor blares, "Rift alert. Level over West Sea," leaving Lilith teetering on the edge of collapse as an unseen threat looms beyond the cracked horizon. The screen is fading. Hit subscribe on Manwa with Hari before it's gone.
Cha Yuji slams the greasy ladle into the simmering broth, the scent of stale noodles snapping his memory back to the West Sea Rift. A frantic alert flashes, another fissure, but the streets buzz with slime ASMR live streams. He wipes sweat from his brow, then freezes as a gas-masked stranger slides into the booth, eyes glinting with a hunter's promise. Cha Yuji slurps the last broth, eyes flicking to the flickering hollow alerts announcing another rift spike. A scarred silhouette in a cracked gas mask slides into the doorway, the visor reflecting the neon Live Unbox Erank banner. Cha Yuji slams the greasy bowl shut, wipes his mouth, and watches the neon sign flicker above the hangover soup stall. A hushed chime signals the door. A silhouette in a cracked gas mask slides inside, eyes glinting like the West Sea's last tide. "You've got a lot to hide," the stranger hisses, and Yuji's calm crumbles. Join the Hari squad with a sub before the system crashes.
Cha Yuji wakes to the taste of stale broth, the memory of a rift still burning behind his eyes. He knows the West Sea opened 8 years ago, a grade tear that forced the government to dump a squad of elite hunters onto the battlefield.
Cha Yuji wipes the grime from his hands, eyes scanning the neon-lit soup stall as a holographic alert flashes. Rift activity stable, no threat. The clang of chopsticks blends with a distant ASMR slime stream, while a masked figure slides into the booth opposite, lips sealed behind the gas mask. A cold shiver runs through Yuji. The quiet life he'd chosen suddenly feels like a trap.
Cha Yuji slams the greasy ladle into the cauldron, steam curling around his tired eyes as he serves the last bowl of hangover soup. The neon sign above flickers. Rift alerts. None.
Yuji slams the ladle into the cauldron. A gas-masked stranger drops a battered satchel, and a hidden map to a newly emerging rift flares to life. He risks losing his soul sanctuary and the faint hope of rescuing the vanished hunters, feeling betrayal roar louder than the neon haze. The satchel erupts, a pulsing core humming ominously, and the stranger melts into shadows, leaving Yuji staring at an unstable rift blooming beneath his stall. Connect the dots before anyone else. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. He's alive, the Bureau wants his blood, and the night shift starts now. A former police academy kid, once a top-rank hunter, sits in a cramped office, fingers twitching over a blinking hotline. He needs a way out before the agency drags him back. The line flashes unregistered individual reports, and a cold voice repeats the same warning. He slams the receiver, grabs his badge, and bolts through the door, ignoring the sirens that howl behind him. The Bureau's agents swarm the hallway, but he ducks into a maintenance shaft, buying a few seconds of breath. And that's not even the worst part.
I'm supposed to be dead, yet they use my name.
He hears a frantic whisper about Grandma. Six-Hound is missing. The words tumble like broken glass, each syllable a clue he can't piece together. Yuji's mind races, recalling his grandmother's quiet steps slipping away like a mouse in the dark. He paces, trying to map her last known path, but the alley offers no answers. The night air feels heavier, as if the city itself holds its breath, waiting for a revelation that never comes. He bites his lip, frustration tightening his jaw, while the empty streets echo his unanswered questions. He steadies his hand, insisting there was no accident, just a hurried grab and a promise of safety.
Yuji detonates a black flame vortex, trapping the alley in roaring fire as the gas-masked stranger seizes the team's data. Lilith watches hope crumble as her grandmother's missing footsteps echo, and Yuji feels safety slip from his grasp. A pulsing tracker glints at unknown coordinates, promising a deeper conspiracy, while the black flame threatens to engulf the entire district. This channel exists because of fans like you. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and keep it going.
Cha Yuji slams the greasy ladle into his palm, the stench of spoiled fish mingling with the neon glow of the hangover soup sign. He watches a live stream of an A-rank sword unboxing, the crowd's cheers echoing like distant war cries. A masked figure slides into the booth, whispers "You can't hide forever," and Yuji feels the hunter's pulse stir once more. Cha Yuji staggered into the cramped noodle joint, the stench of burnt oil masking the sour tang of his last meal. He watched a live stream hawk unbox a glittering A-rank blade while slime ASMR loops rattled the speakers. A masked silhouette slipped through the doorway, eyes flickering with an unfamiliar hunger.
Yuji scrambles to his feet, his mind racing to rationalize why a civilian would charge at deadly spikes like a lunatic. He wants answers, but the frantic stranger interrupts, pleading for urgent help to find a niece. The stranger's desperation blocks Yuji's investigation, pulling his attention toward a personal crisis. He forces a polite smile, nods, and pretends ignorance, buying time while his thoughts churn. The stranger's hurried words echo, "Just pretend I don't know anything," as Yuji senses a deeper plot unfolding.
"Hey Sue, I have to go now. I need to find my niece urgently."
The stranger's hidden agenda could pull Yuji back into the hunt. He slides a hand into his apron, pretending the conversation is idle. He wants to deflect the accusation, to prove he's just a low-key cook, not a relic-hunting ghost. The stranger's relentless probing about his past and his silence about the other hunter become a wall he can't climb. He mutters a half-truth, feigning ignorance, then changes the subject to the kitchen's heat. The price he pays is a lingering doubt that the stranger will never let him forget who he really is. You feel the tension coil tighter as Lilith steps forward, her voice a thin veil over something darker. She wants the missing niece, the secret that could topple the fragile peace of the restaurant.
The stranger reveals he is an unregistered awakened, forcing you to expose your hidden power as the restaurant's lights flicker and Lilith's desperate plea echoes. You risk losing your fragile anonymity and the missing niece's safety, while Heian's teachings crumble beneath the weight of betrayal and fear. A shadowy figure waits at the playground, holding the decisive secret, leaving you to wonder whether the deal will shatter or bind your fate forever. The abyss is staring back. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Cha Yuji slams his apron against the greasy counter, the clang echoing through the dump-turn diner. A flickering hollow alert warns of a new rift, but his stomach growls louder than any apocalypse. He plates a steaming bowl of hangover soup when a silhouette in a cracked gas mask slides into the doorway, eyes hidden behind soot-stained lenses. "You've got a name?" Cha snarls, the hunt sparking anew.
Cha Yuji wiped grease from his apron, the clang of pots echoing his old battle cries. A flickering hollow ad warned of another rift, but the soup simmered peacefully. A hulking silhouette slipped through the kitchen doorway, gas mask glinting under neon. The former hunter's heart hammered. Peace was about to shatter. Yuji assesses the situation, realizing causing a rift with the hunters would only draw more danger. He wants to avoid needless bloodshed, but the organization's reach makes every step a potential spark. He decides not to provoke them, keeping his hands clean and his mind sharp. He steps back into the restaurant, letting the night's tension dissolve into the kitchen's stale steam. The cost is a lingering unease, a feeling that the quiet is only a thin veneer over a storm. The calm feels fragile, and the storm waits to break. Yuji finally confronts the lingering threat, choosing to knock the two guards unconscious rather than let them linger. Yuji slams the kitchen door, silencing the guards' weapons, and scribbles a trembling warning on the counter as the boiling soup erupts, marking his reluctant return to the hunt. He feels his fragile peace shatter, tasting salt and fear, as his hidden family teeters on the edge of a hunter's vengeance. Lee Seung stalks the shadows, his resolve cracking, and the timer ticks toward an explosion that could expose Yuji's secret sanctuary. Videos like this get buried all the time. Hit subscribe on Manwa with Hari so we don't lose each other.
Cha Yuji slams the kitchen door shut, wipes grease from his hands, and watches the neon sign flicker over the trash-filled alley. A low hum of static crackles as a gas-masked stranger slides into the booth, sliding a sealed vial across the table. "You've been hiding," the stranger whispers, but the rift never sleeps. Cha's heart spikes. Peace is a lie.
Cha Yuji slammed the kitchen door, his hunter's scar-scarred hands trembling as the sizzling broth hissed. The neon hangover soup sign flickered, casting a sickly glow over the trash-strewn alley. A figure in a cracked gas mask emerged from the shadows, eyes glowing green, and whispered, "You can't hide from the rift forever." Cha Yuji slams the steaming bowl of hangover soup, eyes scanning the neon-lit dump as the alarm chimes, another rift warning flashing across the sky. A thin mist curls from the fryer, then a silhouette steps out of the shadows, gas mask glinting under flickering streetlights. The stranger's voice crackles, "You've been hiding, hunter. Time to choose a side." The gas-masked figure watches, blade glinting, ready for what comes next.
Cha Yuji scrambles to join a ragtag group of hunters gathered around a flickering hollow board. He wants allies to prove he still belongs to the hunt. The rift alerts pulse louder. Crowd murmurs about dwindling contracts block his quick entry. The guild's senior hunter, Young Bin, steps into the dim light, his badge flashing rank high. He eyes the awakened database on the wall, then fixes you with a cold stare. "You know you're not supposed to use that for personal reasons," he growls, his voice echoing authority. "Your longing to protect a hidden child clashes with the law that threatens to strip you of any advantage." You tighten your grip on the bowl, refusing to hand over the data, and the tension spikes as his fist hovers near your throat. The silent threat hangs heavy, and the guild's grip tightens around your neck.
"You're not supposed to use the awakened database."
Senior hunter Youngbin confronts Yuji, demanding he hand over the sealed vial while the gas-masked stranger watches. The database flashes red warning. Yuji risks exposing his hunted past and Lilith's soup stall loses its fragile protection, while the clerk trembles fearing a 1,000,000,000 fine. Jungbin's badge glows ominously as the vial cracks, releasing a pulse that flickers through the room, leaving everyone wondering which side the static light now serves. Unlocking the ultimate tier is just the beginning. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. Cha Yuji slurped the greasy broth, the neon signs flickering above the dumpside eatery like dying fireflies. A sudden hiss sliced the air as a gas-masked stranger slipped into the kitchen, eyes glinting with a hunter's hunger. "You've vanished from the rift," the figure whispered, hand hovering over a concealed blade, and Yuji's calm facade cracked, his past roaring back to life.
Cha Yuji slams the restaurant's rusted door shut, the stench of rotten fried noodles mingling with the distant hum of slime ASMR streams. He wipes grease from his hands, eyes scanning the glowing disaster alerts that flash like neon warnings across the wall.
Cha Yuji slams the kitchen door, wiping blood-stained hands on his apron, when a hiss of filtered air slices the dim room. A lone figure in a rust-caked gas mask steps from the shadows, eyes glinting behind the visor. "You've been hiding from the rift, Hunter." The stranger snarls, clutching a flickering relic that hums like a dying star. Heian hears a faint knock and a sobbing voice from the other side of the rusted door, because she must decide whether to trust a stranger pleading for help.
Heian lifts a twisted spike from the ground, its metal bent at an impossible angle, as if it collided with something harder than steel. He turns to Lilix, eyes narrowed, wondering if the shape matches any known weapon. She shakes her head, her mind racing through every database she's ever accessed, but nothing matches. The records stay empty. The system dead ends. Frustration burns in Sanark's jaw. His hands clench around a datapad, the glow reflecting his desperation. Finally, a glimmer of hope appears when the spike's imprint matches a forgotten relic's legend, giving them a lead they didn't expect.
Never seen a spike like this before. Database shows nothing, but we finally have a lead.
That lead could be the key or the trap waiting for them.
A broken hunter staggers from a slump into a dingy soup stall, 8 years of lost time pressing on his shoulders, while the world outside blares rift alerts and live-streamed sword unboxes. Heian stands face to face with a stranger whose grip just snapped a fiend's neck like kindling, and now she must decide whether this trembling plea for help is salvation or a deeper trap. The twisted spike Heian pulls from the wreckage bends at an impossible angle, hinting at a force harder than steel, while Lilith's silence and the stranger's desperation hang dangerously unanswered. This is your last warning before the spoiler hits. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Cha Yuji slurped the last broth, the hangover soup tasting like stale victory, when a thin silhouette emerged from the dumpster's shadows, gas mask glinting under flickering neon. The stranger's eyes, hidden behind cracked lenses, locked onto Yuji's scarred hand. "You've been hiding long enough," the voice rasped, and the quiet diner trembled with the promise of a new hunt. Cha Yuji slams the greasy ladle into a steaming bowl, the clatter echoing through the junk-strewn alley. He watches a live stream where a glittering Erank blade shatters a glass case, while slime ASMR videos ping his phone. A sudden hiss cuts the chatter, a gas-masked silhouette steps from the shadows, eyes glinting with a hunter's promise. Cha Yuji slurped the last of the hangover soup, his hunter's instincts still humming beneath the bland broth. A flicker of static crackled from the kitchen's cracked window, and a gas-masked silhouette slipped through the trash-laden alley. The stranger tilted his visor, eyes gleaming with a familiar rift energy, an invitation or a warning, and Cha's new quiet life shattered instantly.
The masked stranger's silhouette looms, and Yuji realizes the calm was only a brief pause. Yuji pushes the kitchen counter, eyes fixed on the steaming bowls. He wants the soup fast, hoping a hot meal will drown the echo of the rift he left behind.
Yuji glances at the newcomer's mirrored eyes, trying to read the stranger's intent. He wants to know if this masked figure is friend or foe, yet the stranger's sarcastic grin blocks any easy answer. Yuji steps closer, eyes narrowing, and asks about the sudden hair dye and changed eye color, hoping to catch a slip. The stranger laughs, brushing off the question with a flippant, "Hells, how did you know that?" and turns his back, leaving Yuji with more questions than answers. The cost is a growing suspicion that the future hides old enemies. What comes next changes everything. The waiter slides a thick envelope across the table, the numbers flashing 1,000,001 in harsh red.
Yuji slams the counter, forcing the gas-masked stranger to reveal a glowing contract that binds him to a debt of millions. He feels his fleeting comfort melt as the soup's warmth cannot shield him from the crushing reality that his freedom costs his soul. The envelope slides toward him, red numbers pulsing, while the stranger's grin widens, promising a showdown that could shatter the kitchen and his very identity. Blood is thicker than water, but revenge is sweeter. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Cha Yuji wiped the grime from his hands, stared at the neon hangover soup sign, and felt the world's pulse shift, from riftfire to live stream hype. He slung on a greasy apron, but the kitchen's steam masked a stranger's cold gaze behind a cracked gas mask. The figure lifted a glinting blade, and Yuji's quiet exile cracked wide open. Cha Yuji staggered out of the rift's ash, the West Sea's roar fading behind him. He awoke amid towering piles of rotten neon signs, 8 years older, stomach gnawing. A bowl of greasy hangover soup warmed his bones, and the news scrolling above bragged about slime ASMR and A-rank sword unboxings.
He stares at the nickname field, trying to craft a handle that hides his past yet draws buyers. Beep garlic. Hangover soup? He types furiously, then clicks register. A robotic voice greets him, demanding GPS coordinates. He flips the switch, and the market's AI voice drifts. Welcome to Tomato Market, Mr. Easy. Turn on GPS and register location. He complies, his heart pounding as the market's ledger opens. He lists the stones for $1,000,001, hoping the price will attract the right buyer. The listing posts the price flashing like a beacon. Lilith scrambles to upload her stolen magic stones onto the hunter-only market app, forcing a makeshift ID while the awakened management bureau spikes the network, threatening an instant data purge. Lee feels his hope hinge on the sale, visualizing a coat for Heian, grandma's surgery funds, and a repaired ladle. Yet the app's glitching grip squeezes his desperation into a trembling lifeline. A cryptic server code flashes behind the transaction, linking the money to the Hunter Guild's hidden surveillance, leaving Lee staring at a blinking confirmation pending, as unseen agents close in. Everyone loves a comeback. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari to watch him rise.
Cha Yuji slammed the kitchen door shut, the clang echoing over piles of rotting scrap. He ladled steaming broth into a cracked bowl, eyes flicking to the flickering hollow board advertising slime ASMR live streams. A distant siren wailed, a rift alert, yet the city hummed peacefully. As he wiped his hands, a silhouette in a cracked gas mask slipped through the doorway, whispering, "You can't hide forever." Cha Yuji slammed the kitchen door shut, his hunter's reflex still humming beneath the apron. The greasy air thumped with cheap live streams, but a cold draft slipped through the back door, an armored silhouette in a black gas mask, eyes glinting like a sealed rift. "Looking for work or trouble?" the stranger hissed.
Lunch bell rings, but the table's empty. Lee Sayung appears, her badge flashing bliss as the room, searching for a missing comlink. She mutters about a crazy wretch who might have stolen the footage, doubting the authenticity of a viral clickbait post. Her goal: confirm the source before the feed spreads panic. The obstacle: a flood of rumors and a suspicious screenshot. She snaps, "It could have been a stolen pic from the internet." The crew scrambles to verify, fearing a fabricated alarm could spark a false rift alert. Their effort drains the already thin trust among them.
Magic stone.
You feel the room tighten as Hong pulls Lee Sayung onto a cracked wooden chair. Hong wants Lee to hear a secret that could shift the power balance in the market. The noisy diners and the clatter of bowls block a private conversation, and the official's lingering gaze threatens to report any leak. Hong leans in, whispers that a hidden contract ties the official to a black market syndicate, then urges Lee to start accepting their official contacts to expose the scheme. Lee's eyes flicker, then she nods, aware that refusing could cost her life. He leaves the table, but the weight of the revelation settles like a stone. What comes next changes everything.
Hong slams the humming sphere into the market's central conduit, igniting a blinding pulse that shatters the protective barrier and sends the coveted magic stone spiraling toward the crowd's frantic hands. Lilith's desperate gamble forces Hong to choose between saving Li Sayoung's life with the stone's power or preserving the fragile market equilibrium, leaving his loyalty and humanity hanging by a trembling thread. The masked intruder's badge flickers, revealing a hidden affiliation that threatens to expose the stone's true origin, while the stone's volatile energy crackles ominously, promising an explosive showdown that could engulf everyone. Connect the dots before anyone else. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Cha Yuji slams the kitchen door, the sizzling broth echoing his heartbeat. He ladles steaming soup for a crowd glued to their hollow screens, oblivious to the rift alarms flickering outside. A hiss of compressed air rolls in as a gas-masked figure slides into the back alley, eyes hidden behind cracked lenses. Yuji's hand tightens around his ladle. Peace has just gotten dangerous. Cha Yuji slams the greasy ladle into a pot of steaming broth, the scent of fermented kelp cutting through his hunger. Outside, holographic alerts flash rift surge, stay indoors, while a masked stranger slides a cold, metallic canister onto his table. The stranger's visor hisses, "You've left the hunt behind," but the rift never forgets.
A shadowed figure steps through the doorway, eyes hidden behind a cracked gas mask, clutching a folded note. Yuji wants answers about the stranger's purpose, yet the mask's silence and the shop's closed sign stall any conversation. He forces the door open a crack, demanding the visitor speak, while the note trembles in the stranger's gloved hand. The masked man whispers a warning about a looming threat tied to Yungbin, and Yuji feels his stomach twist, realizing the city's peace hides deeper danger. The encounter leaves the kitchen's lights flickering as tension spikes. The masked stranger presses a cold metal case into Yuji's hands, demanding he hand over the tomato market data he's been hoarding. The masked stranger thrusts a cold metal case into Yuji's hands, demanding the coveted tomato market data, while the neon-lit ramen shop trembles under the weight of unseen danger. Yuji feels his livelihood teeter on collapse as the seller's offer to erase the chaos costs him his very identity, forcing him to choose between protecting his shop and surrendering his soul. The rift-scarred hunters erased past flickers on the dossier, hinting at a hidden contract that could shatter reality, leaving Yuji staring at a looming threat that refuses to fade. There's history here that most people skip. Don't be most people. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. The legendary healer's hands now bleed, and a civilian's leg could kill Korea. Nam Woo-jin, rank healer, stands alone in a cramped office, his reputation a whispered curse. He wants to keep his secret, being an awakened being, hidden from a blackmailer who threatens to expose him. The blackmailer leans forward, smirking, demanding a favor that would ruin the healer's life. Woo-jin clenches his fists, feels the pulse of his awakened power surge, then forces a calm smile and agrees, buying a few minutes before the trap snaps shut. The cost? A promise that ties his soul to a stranger's twisted game. The bargain deepens the darkness around him. A nervous live streamer clutches his bag, pleading for the hidden camera to stop. The hunter's follower scoffs, shouting that filming without consent is illegal, then mocks the absurdity of the claim. A brash bystander steps forward, taunting the hunter's reputation, calling him a punk and daring anyone to prove his skill. The tension spikes as the crowd's jeers grow louder, forcing the live streamer to scramble for a quick exit while the hunter's aura sharpens, ready to crush any challenge.
Verdum. Garbage.
Cha Yuji spots a buzzing hive of activity in the back room. The kitchen erupts as staff shout, "What's the 5th-ranked hunter doing here?" Yuji craves answers, but the chef's frantic whisper about honey in the hangover soup distracts him. A frantic manager, Lee Seung, storms in, pointing at Yuji and demanding he leave before the restaurant blows its cover. Yuji wants to stay, to claim his place, yet the manager's anger blocks his path. He raises his hand, silencing the shouting, and forces Lee to step back, exposing the manager's trembling fear of the hunter's reputation. The tension spikes, and the kitchen's steam mirrors Yuji's rising fury.
Get out here now, Lee Seung. Snap, okay?
The manager's resolve cracks, hinting at a secret he's desperate to hide. Yuji confronts the 5th ranked honeybee hunter in the kitchen, seizing the ladle and demanding answers as neon lights flare. Yuji feels his relevance teetering, risking his quiet job and pride while the crowd's envy and manager's accusations threaten to crush his fragile sense of belonging. Lee Seung shouts a cryptic deadline for a secret project, and the buzzing hive of staff freezes, leaving Yuji staring at the honeybee hunter poised to vanish. You ask for the best, I deliver. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Cha Yuji jolted awake amid rotting cans. The West Sea rifts echo a distant memory. He slurped broth at the hangover soup stall, eyes widening as live streams of Arank sword unboxings flickered beside slime ASMR clips. When a gas-masked stranger slipped onto the cracked tile, whispering, "You can't run forever," Yuji's resolve cracked, and the quiet he'd forged trembled.
Cha Yuji wipes the greasy spoon from his hands, sighs at the humming neon, and slides into a corner booth. A thin plume of vapor curls from a lone table, where a silhouette in a cracked gas mask lifts a trembling fork. Their eyes lock, cold steel behind the filter, a grin hinted by a scarred cheek.
Yuji confronts a shadowy contact who claims a link to the guild leader, not the guild itself. He pushes for answers, demanding who controls the flow of information. The contact hands him a cryptic server log, whispering, "Here you go." Yuji flips it, eyes flicking over the code, trying to spot a hidden thread. The log reveals a hidden channel, but it's encrypted, and every attempt to decode it spikes his pulse. He knows unlocking it could expose the guild's core, yet the risk of triggering a countermeasure looms. He decides to keep the server file, planning to crack it later. The hidden channel may be his only way forward. A soft giggle bubbles from the back room as a voice crackles through the speaker. Lilith, the gas-masked figure, teases the kitchen staff, urging them to call today and join Lilith with a wink. Yuji wants the mystery to lift, to hear what she truly wants. The flickering neon sign and the clatter of pots drown her words, making the invitation feel like a trap. He leans closer, his apron tightening, and repeats the number under his breath, willing it to mean salvation. The cost, his curiosity now a ticking time bomb.
Call today, join Lilith.
What comes next changes everything.
Yuji shatters the greasy spoon, exposing a pulsing rift core hidden beneath the soup stall, its neon glow cracking the apocalyptic silence into a blinding cascade of raw power. He feels his fragile hope evaporate as the rift threatens to consume his newfound sanctuary, forcing him to choose between protecting the fragile community and surrendering to the abyss. Lilith's chirping intercom repeats a cryptic code, the Awakener hotline buzzing unanswered, leaving Yuji staring at the flickering sign as unseen forces close in. Hitting subscribe is statistically proven to make your day better. Probably. Try it. Cha Yuji slammed the kitchen door, ladle clattering against the rusted sink as the last bowl of hangover soup steamed. A flicker of static crackled from the street. Then a silhouette emerged, gas mask glinting like a broken promise. The masked stranger tipped a battered cap, eyes hidden behind soot-stained lenses, and whispered, "You can't hide from the rift forever."
Cha Yuji slams a ladle into the boiling broth, the steam masking the sour taste of his 8-year exile. A garbled alert flashes, rift surge detected, stay indoors. He glances at a live stream where a smiling hunter unboxes a glittering Arank blade, then hears a soft hiss behind the kitchen door.
Rumors swirl as Lee Sa-young appears again, this time demanding ownership of the Incheon Rift in exchange for research from the Wave Guild's lab. He wants control, hoping the data will give him leverage over his rivals. The team leader scoffs, accusing Sa-young of jealousy for stealing the top rank. Yet his suspicion fuels a tense standoff. Young's calm facade cracks, a dark aura flickering around him as he threatens to claim any creature that emerges from the rift as his own. The consequence unfolds when a low-grade monster bursts forth, destroying the Bureau's terminal and scattering the coveted research. Join the Hari squad with a sub before the system crashes. The squad fractures as a hunter snatches a searing rift fragment, detonating a citywide blast that shatters the seal and reactivates a hidden admin console granting anyone the rift's control codes. Lee Young watches his name erased from the national feed, his reputation crumbling while teammates bleed from the explosion, fearing the rift's horrors will consume their very souls. A flickering screen flashes open admin permissions as a rogue signal pulses from the shattered rift, promising unstoppable power to whoever seizes it first. We set the standard for Manhwa recaps on YouTube. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and experience the difference. Cha Yuji slams the greasy ladle, steam curling around his scarred hands as the Hangover Soup restaurant buzzes with slime ASMR live streams. A sudden clank. Someone in a cracked gas mask slides into his booth, eyes hidden behind the respirator's glass. You've got a hunter's scent still. The stranger hisses, and Yuji's quiet exile shatters in an instant.
Cha Yuji slams a ladle into a steaming pot, the clang echoing through the dump-turned restaurant. He watches a slime ASMR stream flicker on a cracked tablet, then feels a cold breath on his neck as a gas-masked stranger slides into the booth, eyes hidden behind a visor that hums with dormant rift energy.
A nervous clerk flips a file, muttering red and under his breath as the press room's tension spikes. A shadowy figure leans forward, eyes cold, and asks the room, "What do you want?" The question hangs, turning every whispered speculation into a personal demand. No one answers, and the silence grows heavier, as if the very walls are waiting for a confession that could rewrite the entire Rift saga.
What do you want?
The silence itself becomes the next accusation. Cha Yuji leans back, eyes scanning the dim booth. He wants to stay off the radar, to disappear without drawing the association's black eyes. The memory of his sealed rift and the gas-masked stranger gnaws at him, blocking any calm. He tells the vendor he won't become an active hunter again, but hints at a shadow roll. The vendor nods, slipping a forged ID across the table, sealing the silent pact. The cost is a fresh set of strings tying Yuji to a world he vowed to leave.
Yuji snatches the cheap recorder from the table, its metallic glare flashing as he pockets it while the neon-lit soup stall erupts in a chaotic flash of gunfire and rift energy surge. He feels the weight of a new contract humming in his hands, but the association's black eyes close in, threatening to erase his hard-won freedom and the fragile peace of the night shift. The gas-masked silhouette reappears beyond the flickering sign, its silent stare promising a deadly hunt as the rift trembles, leaving Yuji's next move shrouded in lethal uncertainty. Embrace the chaos. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. He drives the blade into his own palm, because letting anyone else pull the trigger feels like surrender. Blood splatters, sealing the cursed dagger's contract. The metal hums, promising unbreakable vows and a death sentence for anyone who dares to break it. He watches the crimson bead pool, feeling the weight of a promise he never asked for. The curse flares, wrapping his wrist in a cold iron grip that won't loosen. He knows the price. His freedom, his future, his very soul. And that's just the opening move.
Seal it, or die trying.
The next player steps forward, daring to rewrite the rules. The stranger leans in, grin twisted, offering to take the plunge for him. Desperation drives him to shout for help. Hung! Open your mouth! He forces Cha Yuji to gag the poison, demanding the victim swallow whatever might purge the toxin. The city's noise fades as he concentrates, his throat raw from the effort. The victim's gasp echoes, a ragged rhythm of survival. The cost. His own voice cracks, and every strained breath risks spreading the poison further.
Open your mouth, Cha Yuji.
The strained silence hints at a hidden threat lurking nearby. Relief flickers as the detoxification completes, the venom evaporating faster than expected. He watches the liquid drain, a thin sheen of safety coating the wound.
Cha Yuji reads the system warning, his pulse quickening. The message claims the system only answers desperate wishes, hinting that someone is brewing false awakenings in a hidden lab. He needs the truth to stop the experiments. Yet the cryptic "join you know you want to ooh pat pat" mocks his seriousness, trying to lure him into a trap of false hope. He slams his fist on the console, forces the code to reveal the hidden coordinates, and the screen flashes a map to the underground facility. The map burns his retinas, but it gives him the only lead toward the manipulators. What comes next changes everything.
Join you know you want to ooh-woo pat-pat.
Brian finishes the desperate detox, the venom vaporizing in a silver sheen, only to discover the cure fuels a hidden curse that threatens to seal Cha Yuji's fate forever. Cha Yuji clings to a fragile breath of safety while his voice burns away, losing hope and the chance to bargain for his freedom. The system warning pulses, promising desperate wishes, while an unseen lab brews a counterfeit awakening, leaving Cha Yuji teetering on the edge of a lethal unknown. Start your day right with a new Manhwa recap. Subscribe to Manhwa with Hari. The system's grip shatters. Humanity's stolen fire ignites a war for survival. A secret lab pushes a machine that forces dormant humans to awaken. Lilith, the lone scientist, watches the gauge climb, convinced the desperate will summon the system's answer. The machine hums, but the core refuses to fire, its code locked by a hidden safeguard. She slams her palm on the console, forcing a bypass. The device erupts, flooding the room with raw energy. The first subject convulses, eyes snapping open, but the surge burns the circuitry, leaving the lab in smoke. And that's not even the worst part.
I want to live. I don't want Jody.
The clerk asks him to confirm the rank he wishes to receive, eyes scanning the terminal for any sign of deceit. The hunter aims for the lowest bracket, hoping the disguise will buy him peace. The form forces a consent checkbox for drug use, a legal trap he must accept to proceed. He clicks yes, feeling the poison still burning his throat, and the clerk confirms the registration will finish within the hour. Outside, the street hums with distant traffic, oblivious to the quiet betrayal happening inside. The hunter's false rank locks in, but the cost is a lingering toxin in his veins.
It shouldn't take longer than an hour.
The clerk apologizes, then hands you the grim reality. The temporary research center shuts down as soon as construction finishes, and you won't be back in time. You realize the window closes with the next snowstorm. Either you act now or lose the chance forever. The pressure spikes. You feel the weight of every past battle crushing your resolve. You grip the counter, whispering a promise to finish the job today, because waiting means death. The air hums with an uneasy calm as you decide to risk everything for a single, fleeting chance. What comes next changes everything.
So basically, it's snow or never.
Cha Yuji slams his fist on the greasy counter, the steaming hangover soup erupting like a battlefield as a neon rift surge flashes, while a masked stranger drops a mysterious bowl that could erase his hunter rank. He feels his identity tearing apart, fearing the guild will brand him a monster forever. Yet the fleeting chance to vanish offers a sliver of redemption that could save his shattered reputation. The masked figure vanishes, leaving the bowl untouched and the research center's shut down looming, while the next snowstorm threatens to seal Yuji's fate forever. Start your day right with a new Manhwa recap. Subscribe to Manhwa with Hari. The hunter's trigger clicks. The government's secret program detonates the whole city. Cha Yuji staggers out of the sealed rift, his vision blurred by ash. He lands hard on a trash-filled alley, the stench of rot filling his lungs. A distant siren wails, but the crowd is gone. Panic claws at him, yet his training forces his feet forward. He scrambles toward a flickering sign that reads, "Hangover Soup." The doors swing open, and a thin voice greets him, offering a place to rest. He steps inside, hoping the soup will drown the echo of the blast.
Welcome. Register as an awakened.
The registration desk hides a deeper test waiting just beyond the soup bowl. Cha Yuji watches the trembling apprentices argue over the broken wooden sword, their voices rising in frantic disbelief. He wants answers about why a simple rank skill could fracture such sturdy equipment. Their lack of proper gear and the guild's shoddy maintenance block his investigation. He steps forward, demanding clarification, his tone sharp as a blade. The apprentices stammer, insisting the skill only enhances the body, not the weapon. Suddenly, a senior examiner mutters that the skill's description is vague, hinting at hidden augmentations. Yuji feels the floor shift beneath his feet. The system may be hiding a deeper power. The cost. His confidence cracks, and the guild's secrecy deepens the mystery. The crowd freezes as a voice erupts, disbelief cracking the tension. The Master Lee Seong's report lands on the table. The weakening potion failed, leaving the newcomer only in bracelets while measurements continue. A clerk nods, eyes darting to the recruitment flyer plastered on the wall, promising love and purpose to anyone who joins team. The room buzzes with nervous energy, each person weighing the risk of signing up against the lure of a steady paycheck.
You've got to be kidding, men.
What comes next changes everything. The senior clerk flips to applicant, shouts Yuji's a rank, and Lilith's cold accusation erupts, sending a ripple of disbelief through the hall as the guild's power hierarchy teeters on the brink. Yuji feels the sting of betrayal and exhaustion as a trainee collapses. A failed weakening potion leaves only bruised bracelets, and the crowd senses the cost of hidden secrets rising. The master's report flashes on the monitor, the tiny mystery unresolved. Alarms wail, and every eye watches as the guild master whispers a dangerous promise that could shatter the fragile peace. We all know you should be sleeping, but you're here. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari anyway.
Cha Yuji slams the kitchen door, his hunter's armor rattling against the rusted metal. He ladles steaming broth into a dented bowl, eyes flicking to the neon ticker flashing, Rift Alert, Level. A masked silhouette slides through the back alley, whispering, "You've got the taste of peace, but the world's still hungry." Yuji clenches his fists, the hunter's resolve flickering back to life.
Cha Yuji staggered through the stench of broken glass, his stomach growling louder than the distant sirens. He slammed the door of the cramped noodle joint, inhaling broth and cheap neon. Cha Yuji slammed the kitchen door, spat out his empty bowl, and stared at the gas-masked stranger looming in the steaming alley. The stranger's visor flickered, revealing a cold grin. Jin Woo Kim, the hunted hunter, now a covert bounty agent. "We've got a rift brewing under the West Sea," Jin Woo whispered, handing Cha a battered EMP device. The two exchanged a nod. The quiet restaurant would become their front line. If you want more daily recaps, hit that subscribe button now.
Cha Yuji cracked open his eyes to a stench of rot and neon flicker. The West Sea rift sealed behind him, but the world had leapt 8 years forward.
The only option flashes in the hunter's mind. Use the raging fire as a shield while he backs toward the exit. He knows the special alloy in the broken blade can melt, forming a molten barrier if he hurls it into the flames. The rickety stove hisses, the heat warping metal, and the weapon sputters, releasing a burst of bright, scorching light. The sudden flash blinds the basilisk, buying Yuji seconds to sprint past the wreckage. As he bursts through the doorway, the kitchen collapses behind him, sending a cloud of ash into the night. The rift alarm blares louder. Someone's waiting outside. Cha Yuji hurls the molten alloy blade into the raging fire, forging a searing plasma shield that erupts outward, blasting the basilisk's fangs and sealing the rift's pulse in a blinding flash. He feels his hunter's pride ignite anew while the desperate child's trembling bowl empties, forcing him to choose between salvaging his lost legacy or abandoning the fragile hope flickering in the neon-lit wasteland. The basilisk's dying roar reverberates, its broken jaw snapping shut around a hidden shard that glints ominously, promising a deeper betrayal as the rift's alarm blares louder, demanding a sacrifice none are ready to make. The blood is already spilled. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari for the aftermath.
Cha Yuji wipes grease from his hands, the restaurant's neon flicker reflecting off his scarred cheek. A hushed gasp ripples through the kitchen as a silhouette in a cracked gas mask slides from the dumpster shadows, eyes glowing like the West Sea's sealed rift. "You've been hiding," the figure whispers, a metallic clank echoing, "Old hunters never truly lay low."
Cha Yuji slams the greasy ladle into the simmering broth, the scent of burnt kelp masking his lingering dread. The restaurant's neon flickers as a masked stranger slides into a booth, eyes hidden behind cracked glass. "You've been missing the rift's pulse," the figure whispers, fingertips brushing the table. An invitation that could shatter Yuji's fragile new peace.
The rift shakes violently, debris raining down as the core cracks. Yuji curses the sudden impact, his ears ringing from the blast. He tries to steady himself, but a massive shockwave knocks him to the ground, his knees scraping the stone floor. A young hunter nearby screams, clutching his side, and Yuji's eyes lock on the wounded boy's terrified face. He wants to help, yet the collapsing rift threatens to swallow them both. The wreckage blocks his path, forcing him to crawl through jagged rocks, his fingers bloodied from the scrape. The cost is his pride and a fresh wound on his hand.
The restaurant's cheap hollow banner flickers, flashing a garish "Merry Christmas" across the wall, out of season and oddly comforting. Yuji glances at the cheerful slogan, a stark contrast to the grim contract he just signed. The patrons ignore the holiday cheer, focused on their meals and screens, while Yuji's thoughts race. He wonders if this forced peace will turn into a trap, or if the festive lie hides a deeper danger. The cheap lights hum, casting long shadows that crawl toward the kitchen's back door. He tightens his grip on the bowl, ready for whatever comes next. What comes next changes everything.
Yuji forces the rift's collapse, hurling every hunter back into the alley as a shadowy broker seals a soul-binding contract on the spot. He feels relief clash with crushing guilt, losing his chance to protect Hung while the ink burns his heart, binding his fate to a dangerous unknown. A whispered "Mabel" lingers, the rift boss's lure still humming, and the district teeters on a new abyss as dawn approaches, threatening all. This channel exists because of fans like you. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and keep it going.